Welcome back to another episode of Say What Needs to Be Said. I'm your host, Asante, Mr. Pick Six Samuel, two-time Super Bowl champion, Pro Bowler, All-Pro, record-breaking cornerback, and 50 interceptions in 10 seasons. Yeah, that's me. I'm in the building tonight, man. Welcome my co-host, 23G.
What's up?
Man, feels good to be back in the studio, man. If y'all ain't noticed the last recording, man, I had a pink background, man, not discriminating. I love the lively colors. I'm a Florida boy, and, man, I enjoyed the moment, man. And tonight we're going to turn up. It's Monday Night Vibes. I'm happy to be back, man. I got a different energy, a different feel about myself, and we have to talk about this Jalen Ramsey trade, man. Jalen Ramsey, man, a lot of hype been building up for months about Jalen Ramsey going to wherever, the Ravens, the LA Rams, the Chargers, all over the place. He preferred to be on the West Coast, but he landed at the perfect place, in my opinion. And we will see how this is going to go, and I'm going to talk about it. And Mr. Pick Six, myself, Asante Samuel, is going to give his full analysis, how I feel about this trade. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to overall players' ratings. Shout out to Rick, the vegan barber, man. How we doing tonight?
What's up, Rick?
Everybody come on in and let's chop it up, man. Chop it up, man. How y'all let me know in the chat what y'all think about this trade. Is this going to get the Steelers over the top, being that they made a lot of significant moves this week? I mean this offseason, or is this just a waste of time? Because I have some inside intel that I need to discuss with y'all. So with no further ado, let's get into it, baby. Let's get into it. Man, y'all see it, the Dolphins. Dolphins send Jalen Ramsey to the Steelers in a NFL blockbuster deal after months of trade buzz. It's going down, right?
It's finally official, man. We know it was coming, and it's finally official.
It's finally official. All right, like I said in the chat, y'all let me know, is this a good trade? Who benefits from this the most before I give my opinion, my analysis? You know what I mean? But my question is, obviously, are the Steelers the most competitive team in NFC North now that they signed? Now, after signing Darius Big Play Slay, DK Metcalf, Aaron Rodgers, and now Jalen Ramsey. From these trades and signings, man, it feels like a team I used to be a part of, and that was the dream team for the Eagles. We were trying to build, a dream team, or a team to make it to the Super Bowl. And we signed Nnamdi Asomugha, we signed DRC, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, Vince Young, Ronnie Brown, Jason Babbitt, and some more players, right? And we was touted as the dream team. Obviously, that team didn't pan out. You know why it didn't pan out, right? It didn't pan out because we had too many superstars on the team and not enough role players. And along with those superstars and inexperienced players and role players, we had inexperienced coaches. So that dream team ended up being the laughingstock of the NFL. But that's not the case for the Steelers, right? The Steelers organization. That's not the case for the Steelers organization. This team has had chemistry for the past 20 years, established from Bill Cowher, I don't know, before him, but it's been established since the 90s, the way they play defense in Pittsburgh. And I feel like the Steelers did an amazing job acquiring DJ Metcalf and Jalen Ramsey, fulfilling the needs of the team. And this team will not disappoint how the Eagles' dream team did. I was so disappointed in being a part of that dream team. We had high expectations, but we didn't have the role players to fill the void for all the superstars on the team. I'm not sure how the Steelers plan to use Jalen Ramsey, but I imagine they will replace him just where Micah Fitzpatrick played. Woo! I'm all over the place. Let's warm up, baby. Y'all let me know. Y'all know I got to tighten up. Y'all know I'm going to warm up, and I'm going to be cooking, baby. We going to cook.
Yeah, that's
Fitzpatrick.
That's definitely something you mentioned before. Like when you talked about Jalen Ramsey getting traded, he was like, man, I can see him getting moved to safety, and then they moved him for a safety, and they already got two starting corners, so that might be in the play, man. You might be right on point with that one.
I know I'm right. I'm 100%
right on point with that one.
Pick Six. I know what I'm talking about. And they, you know, it was like a swap for a swap. It's crazy how the NFL works now with all this guaranteed money left and right and left. Mika Fitzpatrick used to play for the Dolphins. He was drafted to the Dolphins with the 11th pick a couple years ago. I think this is 7th year in the league. And he was ultimately traded to the Steelers. Jalen Ramsey signs with the Dolphins. Now he's traded to the Steelers, and the Steelers sends back Mika Fitzpatrick. What a coincidence, right? But with all that being said, this is a great transaction for the Steelers. I think he will fill a void for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And not only that, like I say, Jalen Ramsey will fill the void for Mika Fitzpatrick. He will be a safety. He will play safety. Along with Big Play Slay, Darius Big Play Slay, and Joey Porter. This defensive backfield will be very physical. Jalen Ramsey is used to being a physical player. He's one of the most physical players that has been around at DB or cornerback for a while. What do you think? How do you think this is going to go? How do you think this is going to pan out for the Steelers, Dries? What do you think?
I think this is an interesting trade from the beginning, because this is like the first time since 2004 that All-Pro got traded for All-Pro. Usually when you see these trades, you see like a player getting traded for a bunch of picks. So swapping that All-Pro. Last time that happened was Clinton Porter's and Champ Bailey got swapped for each other. So we haven't seen this in a long time. So this is going to be interesting seeing two All-Pro players switch teams, and basically Minka's going back home. But for the Steelers, man, I feel like the Steelers are trying to make a move. At first, we was thinking like, man, what are they doing? They taking their time. They may get some late moves. Training camp coming up, and we going to see how it pans out. Did it make them better? I think they already had a good defense. You know what I mean? With Mika Fitzpatrick or Jalen Ramsey there, they will have a great defense. The biggest question for the Steelers, is Aaron Rodgers. Is he going to go back to the old Aaron Rodgers, or he's going to go back to what we've seen recently? So,
right. That's the biggest question.
Yeah, that's the biggest question on their team. But for their defense, I already felt like they had a strong defense. So
for years, like I said, for years, man, this defense has been established. They're on a 3-4 defense. I mean, since the Bill Cowher days. I don't know if y'all know who Bill Cowher is or was. He was one of the pioneers of this Pittsburgh Steelers defense and scheme. So they've been running this scheme and been a physical defense for years. But the question is, with Ramsey being in his 9th and 10th season, Mika Fitzpatrick being in his 7th season, hopefully Ramsey is aging well in football years, and his athletic ability doesn't take a significant drop on us when we have high expectations to see Jalen Ramsey start this new journey at safety, because everybody's excited to see and watch Jalen Ramsey play safety. We thought he played corner. He overstayed his welcome at cornerback. And now it's time to see him take on another position, which we all know that he can do a hell of a job at, being that his size, his physical attributes, his speed, and, him as an athlete, If the Steelers defense was ranked 12th in total defense last season with almost no production from Mika Fitzpatrick last season, I know and I guarantee Jalen Ramsey will make this defense a better defense. And the Dolphins had no reason to trade Jalen Ramsey other than they're sensitive. There's no leadership in the Dolphins organization. Mike McDaniels is a pushover. Chris Greer, the general manager, he has no backbone. These guys over here at the Miami Dolphins, they are running this team like a little league team. No one can stand up to the players. They're terrified of their own players, and they have no control over their players. So let's check out this article from Chris Greer and see what he had to say about Jalen Ramsey and why this trade went down. Because to me, it doesn't make sense, because you traded for another safety when Jalen Ramsey could easily be moved to safety and be way more productive than the person you just traded for. But we will get into that. So let's check it out here. Let's check it out. How do I bring this up? Boom. Let's check this article out from Chris Greer. Take over, Dries.
Really, after a couple weeks of discussion between ourselves internally and Jalen and his representation, we decided it was probably in the best interest for all parties to move forward, Greer said. I will say these discussions aren't done quickly and they're not taken lightly because we spent a lot of time in this offseason working through this, talking through things. And at the end of the day, Jalen did not ask for a trade. We went through with the process. I just felt after numerous conversations and then talking last week with Jalen and his agent, it was best to move forward. It was best interest for Miami Dolphins and for Jalen Ramsey.
If you can't read between the lines and hear all the BS in that statement from Chris Greer, because he isn't an authentic guy at all. He doesn't have a backbone. The Dolphins purposely made a horrible trade to get rid of Jalen Ramsey because it was more important for Mike McDaniels and Chris Greer to make sure Ramsey wasn't on the Dolphins roster, even though they are still paying Ramsey part of his salary. This was a horrible trade. Meanwhile, the Steelers, they are helping the Steelers build a Super Bowl caliber team. The Dolphins aren't building a Super Bowl caliber team. They're trading off their best players. And this will continue from this year to next year. Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, and so on and so forth. We all know and we all seen that Mike McDaniel lost that locker room. He lost that team. And the respect from his players, the players at the Miami Dolphins team and organization barely has respect for Mike McDaniels. And for your head coach, you're supposed to look at your head coach as one of the ones, ultimate respect. But the Dolphins don't give that to Mike McDaniels, being that maybe how he carries himself, his age, the way he look, walk, talk, whatever it may be. You know what I mean? And when you hear Dolphins players address the head coach, we hear disrespectful energy. And is that just the way it is? And that's not a good sign. So I think Mike McDaniels and Chris Greer, they're all trying to gain their respect back in that organization, in the room, in the facilities. So that's their job. They want to get rid of all the veterans, all the high-priced veterans, and now regain the locker room. But it's too late. Tyreek Hill is already calling this man weird, calling him odd, so on and so forth. That is, I think it's a lost cause for the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins lost horribly in this trade.
Yeah, you hear they said Jalen Ramsey didn't ask for a trade, but we know who did, Tyreek Hill. So we know he wants out.
Yeah. But that's the thing. You saying Jalen Ramsey didn't ask for a trade. So that's what I'm saying. He had a guaranteed contract. He had guaranteed money on the table this year. Someone had to pay him that money regardless. So you purposely forced Jalen Ramsey out of this organization because of the only thing I could think of is you're sensitive, the coach is sensitive, the GM can't handle him as a player. So you know what the best thing to do when you can't handle a player, you feel that he has a lack of respect for the team or a lack of respect for the coach, is to do away with that player, regardless of how better this team, he may make this team. And we see that the Dolphins was going downhill, the back and forth, all the bad, negative energy in the offseason. And this is how it goes. We've seen that with with the Philadelphia Eagles, even though they won the Super Bowl with the Jalen Rams. With the big play Slay, CJ Gardner situation that caused a lot of confusion, right? And most people in the world, what I come to learn is they can't deal with conflict. A lot of people don't like to deal with conflict, and they will just shy away from it. And that's what it sounds like they're doing with Jalen Ramsey. Only reason they keeping Tyreek Hill right now at this point because Mike McDaniels is an offensive coordinator. He's an offensive coach. He needs Tyreek Hill there to help Tua Tagovailoa and his the offense to go on out there and be successful. That's the truth,
Man, this really remind me of the Eagles when Chip Kelly couldn't handle. Shady and D-Jack trying to get him out of there for nothing. They was coming off their best seasons.
It's funny. It reminds us of the Eagles from two situations: when Chip Kelly came there and cleaned the house, and when my last season with the Eagles, when they signed all the players, the Vince Young, the Numbi Asamoah, the DRC, the Ronnie Brown, and so on and so forth. And we were so-called the dream team, but it wasn't a dream team. And we didn't have dream team coaches on, the defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator staff. So it turned out really bad. But that's what I'm saying. I'm comparing this to the same, I'm comparing this Steelers trade and signings the same way that the The Eagles went out and did their big one. They went and got out all the big name players to hopefully make this team a Super Bowl caliber team. But the difference is we wasn't established. They was trying to figure out the coaching tree for the Eagles when the Steelers are already established. This scheme has been there for a long time, and I think Jalen Ramsey is going to come right in, man. Jalen Ramsey will be 3 times more productive than Mika Fitzpatrick. Mika Fitzpatrick, yes. See? Yeah, right. Let me hear your take on this. Talk to me about Mika Fitzpatrick. Tell me what you think he's going to bring to the table.
Listen.
Talk to me.
If we look at the overall trade, because let's not forget Jonnu Smith actually went to the Steelers as well. So that's a plus for the Steelers. Because he's a
journeyman. The Jonnu Smith had his best season at the Miami Dolphins last season. He
led the team in touchdowns.
He led the team in touchdowns. He doubled his yards, receiving yards. But like I said, they don't know what they're doing over there. You let one of your key players go on offense who just had career highs at pretty much all his numbers on offense. But guess what? You decide to trade him and not build this team around the players that is there because whatever is going on. So they just traded him, and he's a journeyman. He's been around for a while. I think that was a bad move. So once again, the Dolphins are cleaning house. They are preparing to rebuild whenever they start this rebuilding. Whenever they can rebuild with the Tua and the Tyreek Hill situation. But that's what they're doing. I don't know what else to say. That's what's happening.
Yeah, if we was talking just straight up man for man, Jalen for Minka, I think it would have been better to keep Minka because he's younger. You know what I mean? He's more familiar with the team. But since you add Jonnu in there, I feel like the Steelers won that trade. Yeah, you get Ramsey and Jonnu. But you feel like even if it was 1-on-1, Ramsey would be a better fit than Minka. That's what I'm getting from you.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I think people get caught up in names, right? I don't get caught up in names. I never get caught up in names. I get caught up in production. What have you done for me lately, right? Mika Fitzpatrick had a few solid seasons in his career, but his last 2 seasons were not so good. Wasn't good at all. He barely had much production these last 2 seasons as the Steelers. Last season, I think he had like 0 interceptions, and I think if I remember correctly, he played most of the games this season. The season before that, he was mostly injured. Then the year before that, 3 years ago, he had pretty much his best season of his career, right? Then a drastic fall in production after that, right? He's a few years younger than Ramsey, but Ramsey runs better and shows better agility than Mika Fitzpatrick. The Dolphins did not win this trade. This is a good 1-year gamble for the Steelers to compete, be a team that can compete for a Super Bowl, and make a Super Bowl run. That's all.
Whoa. Let's take that back. I heard that. You said they could compete for a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Before the trade, you said they probably won't make the playoffs. So they making the playoffs for sure now.
No, no, listen to me. The Dolphins did not win this trade. That's what I said. This is a 1-year gamble for the Steelers. In their mind.
Okay, in their mind.
In their scouting department. How they see things. This is a 1-year gamble to complete a team and hopefully make a Super Bowl run, right? If you spend $20 million plus on Jalen Ramsey in 1 year, and you don't even know if he's a cornerback or a safety, usually when you're paying a defensive back $25 million a year, they need to play cornerback. But right now, with the lack of production from the safeties last year, you had Mika Fitzpatrick, you had Elliott, and there was another guy. There was a big drop-off in production at free safety. So with that being said, if Jalen Ramsey comes there, he is definitely going to turn things around at the safety position. He's going to be highly productive. He's going to be physical. He's going to bring a lot of energy, sacks, interceptions, big hits, so on and so forth. Mika Fitzpatrick fell off drastically. His injuries is catching up with him. Like I said, his agility, his speed, his ability to run, keep up with players, it's not how it used to be. And that's just the facts. Jalen Ramsey can still do all of those things. And the advantage he has that, I preach and I coach a lot, and I try to tell the younger guys is he ran track. When you run track, you have muscle memory from track. he still can move like a track athlete because he did it for so long. He's agile, he's flexible, and he has those track muscles. When you don't run track and you don't have, or you didn't work on your speed and you don't have that muscle memory, your body will begin to give. If you don't use it, you lose it. That's how it goes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And as far as Mike McDaniels, man, Mike McDaniels, he understands the players in Miami have minimal respect for him as their head coach. That's just the way it is. He understands that, and it's clear we see that Mike McDaniels, his players don't view him as a regular head coach, man. That's just the way it is. And I think you have to change that tune in order to be a great team. You can have a lot of stats like he had in the past with Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill when they had 1,700 yards receiving back-to-back seasons. You can do all of those things. But when it's important to make the right decisions, the right plays in January and February, when it's playoff time, the most important time of the season, that's when you have to be able to execute and run the plays and to win the game, basically. That's when it's most important. Not the regular season and it's all cute left and right. You understand what I'm saying? So Jalen Ramsey to the Rams, man. Jalen Ramsey to the Rams.
To the Steelers.
To the Steelers. Sorry, I keep saying. Yeah, Jalen Ramsey to the Steelers, man. I like I said, I like this move. I don't know about everybody else. Shout out to Marlon, man. Marlon been missing. Yeah, man, we'll see. Like the X factor is ultimately though is Aaron Rodgers. What will Aaron Rodgers do? What will his mindset be? Is he going to come there and play like the MVP caliber Aaron Rodgers that it used to be? Is he going to be the weird teammate that want to go on retreats and have these, crazy expeditions where he's by himself, and have everybody make it a mystery where everybody have to wonder where he is. Is that what we're going to be dealing with? Because if that's what we have to we're going to be dealing with at the Steelers, they can just, can't.
Man, Jalen Ramsey ain't playing that either.
We'll see.
He'll go find his ass. Like, yo, what you doing?
We'll see. So, moving on. Switching topics, but it's still about the same team, the Steelers. And this one here, man, we get to the topic here. Let's check this out and read this one. Former Steelers, James Harrison says what we all know about head coach Mike Tomlin. What do we know about Mike Tomlin? And this is so funny because this is why you listen to Say What Needs to Be Said. This is why you come to the live stream Monday, Thursday, sometimes Friday. Because guess what? We start the trending topics. Yes, we start the trending topics over here. People have to jump on our bandwagon and copy our topics because they can't say what needs to be said when it's time for them to say what needs to be said, And this is why you listen to Say What Needs to Be Said. So you can learn the truth, expose the hypocrites, feel this good energy, and listen to independent media that isn't controlled by no one, baby. This is why you listen to Say What Needs to Be Said. We do not discriminate, but we try to keep it peaceful. I pointed out the lack of leadership by Mike Tomlin a few months ago, and it went viral, right? And here's my proof. Right? I pointed out a lack of leadership in Mike Tomlin as a head coach when everybody was praising him, right? And this had to do with me and AB when me and AB were going at it. Right now, I'll try to read it. It's a little small for me. Y'all bear with me. If Mike Tomlin never babied you, AB, NFL would have been an afterthought. You couldn't survive anywhere else. The Steelers organization and players allowed you to act crazy. Lucky you never played on my team. You would have been dealt with immediately and not by the coach. And I said, facts. So when that comes out, guess what? All the Steelers players decide to jump on the bandwagon and come down hard on Mike Tomlin since I exposed the lack of leadership in Pittsburgh. Right? Now it's a trend to attack Mike Tomlin. And we never heard these Steelers players have anything negative to say about Mike Tomlin until now. And this is funny to me because no one had anything to say until I pointed it out. When I pointed out, like I said during the tweet, when I just showed the tweet, Mike Tomlin messed up with Antonio Brown. Now, how can these former players decide to call out their former coach now when they had a chance to confront Mike Tomlin while they were on the team? This makes no sense to me, Dries. What do you say? Everybody's coming out attacking their old coach. You have Ryan Clark, and now you have James Harrison. When they did nothing but had positive things to say about Mike Tomlin, now they're coming out of the woodworks, dragging this man left and right. If they didn't feel that way, if they didn't feel like grown men, then why do they feel like grown men now and feel like they can call out their head coach? James Debo Samuel or James Debo Harrison, y'all know I be getting names mixed up. James Debo Harrison and Ryan Clark, y'all step to the table because y'all are weak as hell, man, talking behind y'all former coach back. When y'all grown-ass man had a chance to handle the situation, when he coached y'all, yeah, you a grown man playing in the NFL. Don't think you all of a sudden you're a grown man because the NFL is over with and now you can attack your old coach. That's weak, homie. That's weak. You should have did it when you had the opportunity on the team right then and there. And yes, most of y'all conversations talking about Mike Tomlin has to do with Antonio Brown. The one who started this whole conversation about Mike Tomlin leadership is Antonio Brown. And I'm calling it out. A player that hasn't played for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I can see. I have my eyes wide open. I'm woke. And no one had anything to say until I stepped up and called out Mike Tomlin leadership. And not holding players accountable. That's weak as hell to be trying to talk about him now. And let's get into it. So let's check it out here, right? Here we go. And this is James Harrison. This is what he had to say. He says, with Mike, the biggest thing, I guess, that I like about him is he's a player's coach, Harrison said. And that thing that I dislike about him is he's a player's coach. So he liked and he disliked that he's a player's coach, right? To the point of sometimes he can disrupt, to the point of sometimes it can disrupt because it goes maybe a little too far with allowing certain things with certain players. And then it becomes an issue with that player. With Mike, the biggest thing, I guess, that I like about him is he's a player's coach, Harrison said. And the thing that I dislike about him is he's a player's coach to a point of sometimes it can disrupt because it goes maybe a little too far, allowing certain things with certain. In this article, they wrote the same thing twice, I guess, right? Then Harrison continues, says, they was talking about Harrison, said Harrison was diplomatic when he talked about Tomlin. To be more honest, Tomlin has always had his favorites and he caters to them, almost to the point of breaking his own rules to appease their fragile egos. The best examples was during Steelers training camp when the bulk of the team was staying in dorms at St. Vincent's College. Former wide receiver Antonio Brown rented a huge home near campus and even brought his private chef. This is what James Harrison had to say about Mike Tomlin. And then for y'all as players, Ryan Clark, James Harrison, y'all allowed this to go on. And how embarrassing is this to come on the podcast and talk about your coach? But y'all allowed this to go on and y'all call yourself leaders. This is terrible. This is terrible. What kind of fake Debo have y'all created or impersonating in Pittsburgh? I don't know that type of Debo, Dries. Tell me, is this a Debo to you? Because I played with the real Debo. I'm not going to say no names. He was a Debo over the NFL, and you could check his record. He's a real Debo, and he ain't playing. All this stuff that we talk about, this fake Debo, because he could lift a bunch of weights and this and that. Mm-hmm. The real Debo isn't scared to confront his teammates or check someone's temperature. I know Joey Porter wouldn't have have allowed any type of this behavior from any of the players on the team. Joey Porter, please come to the table and please tell me you wouldn't have allowed players to act like this while you was around, man. This is ridiculous, man. I don't know how they allow this and then act like it's cool to talk about the coach, but you was on the team and you had a chance to be able to fix these problems, make this a better team, maybe help somebody mentally. But no way. No one had a chance. No one stepped up to the plate.
Well, you definitely called this, man. That's why you need to like and subscribe and tune in, because it's like the third thing you called so far on the show today, man. That's why you got to make sure y'all tune in to say what needs to be said, because he said this before, and it's really coming out that this is really what happening. I mean, they babied AB. And I remember that one situation where after the playoff game, AB went live and had like Mike Tomlin talking and saying some things he shouldn't have been saying. And then like right there, Mike Tomlin kind of like let that slide, that situation right there. And that was more open than actually him renting out a whole mansion or house during training camp. So we seen that played out in real time.
Yeah. It's funny, man. Like I say, man, it's crazy. And we always praised Mike Tomlin because he was a brother, and we thought he was doing a hell of a job, which he did. He has a hell of a coaching career as a head coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Can't take that away from him. But how much better of a head coach could he have been? That's how I look at things. When I see the flaws in the system or flaws in a person, I think you as a person, you're always trying to be better, a better person. So when you see the flaws in yourself, when I recognize my flaws, I try to get better. And ultimately, everybody knew how much of a pushover Mike Tomlin was, and he was allowing AB Antonio Brown to get away with the most ridiculous things on a team that no one should be able to get away from. And now you have these ex-players getting on these podcasts talking about their former coach, but they refuse to acknowledge that they failed as leaders on the team. You know what I mean? Why didn't any of these players confront AB or Mike Tomlin about accountability while they was playing for the Steelers? Is my question. Ryan Clark, James Harrison, why didn't y'all confront AB or Coach Mike Tomlin while you was on the team, while all this foolishness was going on? Because you're coming on these podcasts and you're talking about him now, and this is weak. This is weak as hell. If I had a problem right then and there with any of these coaches that was confronted during my stint on the team, right then and there, there's nothing else to talk about. We all grown men. We can have a conversation. You could have simply asked Mike Tomlin, hey, AB, you're allowing him to get away with X, Y, and Z. This is a team full of 53 men. We all need to be held accountable. You cannot treat AB or one player a certain way, then expect everyone else to conform or everyone else to look at you the same. That's the truth. But y'all allowed that. So y'all have to look at y'allself first before y'all start pointing the finger, because y'all are part of the problem. And that's the truth. It's easy to get up here and to talk about people and want to bring people down because you think you're creating a buzz and you're about to go viral. That's weak. That's weak, homie. I'm telling y'all straight up. That's weak. That's weak as hell. It's not cute. It's disgusting. You know what I mean? Don't be the man on the mic when you had a chance to confront Mike a long time ago. Like I said, that's weak. Both of y'all need to have that same energy for Mike Tomlin y'all had when he was y'all coach. Have that same energy now that you had back then. Have nothing but positive things to say about Mike Tomlin. No need to try and blast your coach on camera now. That shit is just super foul. Y'all leave that up to me because I'm the unbiased one. I don't care. You know, you come wrong, you come incorrect, I'm going to call it out. My track record speaks for itself. Y'all's don't. Y'all just starting this talking and calling people out. Y'all feeling, I don't know what y'all feel like, you know, these podcasts and these mics hyping y'all up. You know what I mean? So here's the message to Ryan Clark and James Debo Harrison. I don't want no smoke. This ain't about having smoke, but in the meantime, in between time, I don't want to hear another negative conversation from y'all about Mike Tomlin. If I do, just be ready because I'm coming. It's over with. I started it. I'm going to finish it. I don't want to hear another negative conversation coming from y'all about Mike Tomlin. You know what I mean? How you feel about that, Dries? Do I have a point here or not?
Man, you definitely have a point, man. That that can mess up a locker room too. Just like you said, if you fixing it right there in that situation, you could get some more wins out of that just by speaking your mind, being man up, and handling situations that got out of the hand, and it hurts in the long run. Not even just we see it. It just hurt in the locker room because that was going on with AB and all that stuff like that. They could have saved the man's life for real.
For real, you really can help each other. We come in the NFL as young, unimpressionable athletes who's been pampered and spoiled our whole life, right? So what do we expect? We expect the same thing. We expect to be catered to. We expect that everything is going to fall into play. Everything is going to work out because we're superstars. Everybody love us. We're the 1%ers of part of the world. You know what I mean? But I guess I'm the only real one out here out of all these players that plays sports, because these players are fake as a $3 bill. You understand what I'm saying? The players are fake. They try to be real, but they don't even know how to be real because they never had to experience being real before. And the difference is these athletes were nothing but athletes their whole life. If y'all follow me, y'all know that I've always said that these athletes have been nothing but athletes their whole life. They never had to deal with real life issues. And that's the difference with me, right? I had to deal with real life issues, right? So the difference with me is how I see things. I see things totally different from a totally different perspective than most other players because of what I've been through in my life and my background. I was always independent. I always had to take up for myself and stand up for myself. And as far as discipline goes, understand, man, when you come into the league, this is the most important time of your life for you to learn and the first impression. And I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful I was drafted in New England because I needed that type of discipline as a young man. Belichick ran a very tight ship, right? And the older guys made sure the rules were followed because it's called a team. One man is never more important than a program, and that's how it should be. New England Patriots molded me as a player in the NFL as far as discipline, understanding your job, do your job, and things like that. If you don't provide that for us as a coach, and you being a part of the problem, you're letting us collect money and be fools with money at the end of the day. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't want to hear nothing else about Mike Tomlin. I don't want to hear any ex-players have anything negative to say about him because y'all didn't have nothing to say negative about Mike Tomlin for years upon years. And now everybody wants to come out the woodworks and have negative things to say about him, man. Y'all talk to me, man. How y'all feel? So let's read a couple of chats, man. Let's read a couple of chats. It said, Coach Tomlin knew AB's life would go off the rails without the Steelers and was trying to save him. I totally disagree with that, man. How do you feel he was trying to save him by handicapping him? You don't save someone by handicapping him. If a lot of things I preach, right? If you hang with somebody, if someone is a friend of yours or someone is close to you, but you allow them to live a lie, you're part of the problem. I don't allow people to live a lie around me. And that's why I become intimidating to a lot of people because most people in the world want to live how they want to live, act how they want to act, and expect you to accept them for who they are. That don't sit well with me. I'm an ultimate leader. You come around me, my goal is to help you be better, become better in whatever it is. I want to become better. So that's the theme around here. Being better, becoming better. Right now, all I do is thinking about how to be a better podcaster, how to entertain more, because everything I do, I want to become better. That's just a habit. That's what leadership is about at the end of the day, man. So Mike Tomlin, if he's handicapping players over there, he's not helping them. He's being a part of the problem.
They're gonna expect that same from everything. If you're not correcting certain behaviors right then and there, they're gonna expect that everywhere they go. Like you said, they've been babied all their life. Athletes been treated different all their life, and it gotta stop somewhere. Somebody gotta treat them like, yo, that's not how we gotta do, man. We gotta handle it in a certain way, and if not, it's gonna keep going off the rails, and we seem to keep going off the rails.
Yeah, man, and it's getting worse and worse, and it really feels like Antonio Brown feels entitled out here. He feels entitled because he feels like he's a superstar. He has 17 million followers, and he feels like he can get away with anything he wants to do because guess what? Mike Tomlin allowed that in Pittsburgh. All the foolishness that was going on behind the scenes that we had no clue about was actually happening, right? We thought it was just fun and games. Antonio Brown, Ben Roethlisberger are doing a great job. They're having, whatever's going on is providing, is making the team a better team. The whole time, AB is a total cancer to the team, but no one is saying nothing.
Man, what I could say, Mike Tomlin did do a good job of hiding it because once he first went to the Raiders, we was like, who the hell is this guy? He was a total different guy doing exactly what he wanted. He didn't even play. I don't think he even played the snap for the Raiders. He was just like a whole circus over there.
But that shows you and it tells you, like, look at that. As soon as you go to another team and now you have to confine to different rules and discipline and accountability, you jump off the rails because you are not used to following rules, having authority, someone telling you to be on time, so on and so forth. So in that aspect, that's what I'm saying. Mike Tomlin really handicapped him and spoiled him because you thought you let him think that this is the way it's supposed to be wherever he goes because he's a superstar. And I heard a player say, I think I heard someone say, Mike, like kind of what you're saying, Mike Tomlin did a good job in the meantime. What he was saying, kind of holding AB down because he was such a great player, and I do give him credit. AB works really hard. He's a hard worker on the field. He comes out, he gives 100% effort, but that's just half the battle. That's just half the battle. There's so many more things you have to accomplish to be a complete team, to help each other, and to go out ultimately win the battle. Mentally, physically, emotionally, so many different aspects. AB, man, is AB coming back to the States or is he staying in? Where is he? Saudi Arabia?
No time soon.
No time soon.
They know they waiting for him, man.
So how many of y'all familiar with Joey Porter? Anybody know Joey Porter?
Junior or senior?
Senior, right. Joey Porter Senior. I can't imagine me when I played for New England Patriots. It was like the Pittsburgh Steelers was in our division. We would play them 2 times a year. We play them in the regular season, and then we would play them in the playoffs. Me feeling Joey Porter's energy and understanding him being a leader on the team, I cannot see Joey Porter going for that foolishness and not being able to hold Antonio Brown accountable. I really can't see it. I really think it's the new wave of Mike Tomlin, and Mike Tomlin thinking this is how he has to treat young men and I don't know, the way to teach each other. It's ridiculous.
Joey Porter different, man. I remember when he got shot, and then he said Ray Lewis is talking shit on the field. He would go put his stuff on like, I'm playing, like I don't know what you talking about, right? And then getting shot. And they was like, no, you can't play, like you just got shot.
Right.
But he wasn't. I don't think he let nothing go down. If you let somebody on the other team talk and you into playing, basically, because like he not letting that stuff go down.
Yeah, man, it's crazy out here, man. But ultimately, Jalen Ramsey to the Steelers, man. I really believe this is a missing piece to the puzzle, being that there was a lack of production. I mean, an immense amount of lack of production from the Steelers safety and the Steelers defensive backfield. And I think Jalen Ramsey is going to fill that void, ultimately making this team a more physical, a more intimidating defense. And if they were 12th in the NFL last season with the defensive backs they had last season, you can only imagine Jalen Ramsey is going to knock it up a notch because Jalen Ramsey is a hell of an athlete, man, with great size, great instincts, and great ability at the end of the day. That's just the truth about it. And we're going to see a hell of a Pittsburgh Steelers team. The big question is, and this is a question for you, Dries, in the chat right now, is the Pittsburgh Steelers team good enough to dethrone the Ravens in the NFC North for this title, for the AFC North title? I'm sorry. Can the Steelers dethrone the Ravens?
Man, the Ravens make moves too. They're not back there sitting around with that same team. They knew they had some weaknesses and upgraded their weaknesses. So I feel like, man, the Ravens still number one right now.
You think the Ravens still number one in the AFC North?
Yeah, I think they still number one because they did improvement too, man. They was weak in the back and the defensive backs. They added some more drafted corner. They picked up the corner.
Jair Alexander, you talking about?
And they drafted the corner. Who they drafted? Who was their first pick? Their first pick was like a linebacker or DN.
Yeah, I think they drafted the one from East Carolina, the cornerback from the second round. I think. Am I right? I don't know. You can look it up real quick. You can look it up real quick.
Yeah, but they improved their defense all around. I know you're not a big fan of Jair Alexander, but I feel
he's going to be a liability. Right there, he's a liability.
I feel like they made some moves.
Marlon Humphrey is a liability in himself. You put him in man coverage. So that's what I'm saying. It sounds good and it looks good. It's not about the name. It's about what have you done for me lately. That's what the NFL about. That's why I'm really excited and I'm really motivated to do this podcast and the show, because a lot of people get caught up in names and they misrepresent what really is supposed to be true. And me, I'm going to come out and show you a different perspective of every situation, because they don't look into things how I see it. Jair Alexander, what has he done? You're thinking about something 3 and 4 years ago. He had pretty good seasons 3 or 4 years ago. He gave up a lot of yards. Mika Fitzpatrick, he had a good season. His best season was 3 years ago. His last 2 seasons, he fell off tremendously. So with that being said, Marlon Humphrey had a hell of a season last year, but it was a lot of throws, a lot of plays come right to him. It wasn't plays that he created. That's a difference. If you're out there creating plays, you're a hell of a player. You're great. But if you're only making plays one season out of your whole career because the ball and the time and everything timed up perfectly, no. Jair Alexander, Marlon Humphrey, they're both liabilities on that defense. You mark my word. You mark my word, and you wait and see. Unless you are able to play zone defense all day. Now, Kyle Hamilton, I love him.
Oh, that's what they drafted first. They drafted Starks from Georgia. That's what they drafted.
Starks from Georgia. He's a great athlete. He's a great player. Yes, he will add a significant amount of athleticism and ability on that defense. With Kyle Hamilton and Starks in the backfield, I think that combination is going to be pretty prevalent in the NFL. But the one thing I didn't like about Starks is his physical capabilities as a safety. He can move sideline to sideline. He has a lot of range, but he's a short tackler, but he's not that physical. But that can change when you come to the Ravens and play for the Ravens defense, because that mindset kind of like I think it's the whole AFC North minus the Cincinnati Bengals. Minus the Cincinnati Bengals. That's the only team in the AFC North that don't play physical AFC North type defensive football. That is the only team over there. And truly, if they did and was able to build a defense to Cincinnati Bengals, they would be one of the top teams in the NFL to go along with the Ravens and sometimes the Pittsburgh Steelers.
So Steelers winning the North.
Are the Steelers winning the AFC North? And
it's like your opinion changed from before, because you said they wasn't gonna make the playoffs before. I feel like it's a change now.
No, yeah, they're not gonna be. They're not gonna. That's my opinion. They're not gonna make the playoffs, right? But there's, like I said, I always like to play devil's advocate, right? That's my answer, and I'm sticking to it. But this all boils down to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has a lot of capabilities. He's very good. He's a great player. He still can be a great player. At the end of the day, it boils down to his mindset, his mentality, and what is his purpose on this team. Does he want to deliver a good team? Does he want to be a playoff quarterback, still a playoff caliber quarterback? That is what it's going to boil down at the end of the boil down to the end of the day. The Steelers defense, I keep saying this, they were 12th last season. Micah Fitzpatrick had 0 interceptions, not much productivity at all. Low on tackles, low everywhere. The year before that, the same, but they still managed to be number 12th in overall total defense. Pass defense, I can't remember exactly what it was. They might have been like 15. But Joey Porter Jr., he's a hell of a cornerback. He's a stud. And now we bring Darius Big Play Slay and Jalen Ramsey. Did I make my assessment on the Steelers before they signed Big Play Slay?
No, just
or was it afterwards?
I think it was after. It was after.
Yeah. Okay.
It was after the draft and everything, waiting on because when they first signed Aaron Rodgers, that was after
yeah,
that was after.
At the end of the day, if you can't see the excitement, I'm excited because of the defense.
Top 10 defense right there.
Yeah, top 10 defense. Jalen Ramsey at safety. I've been waiting to see Jalen Ramsey take on this journey at safety for the longest. I think it's finally here. We just have to see. They're not going to pay him $20 million to just be a nickelback. So y'all understand that. He will play safety in nickelback. Micah Fitzpatrick, he basically just plays. Micah Fitzpatrick basically just plays back in the free safety position. He doesn't do much blitzing at all. He's not that. He doesn't play in the box. He doesn't get to be that physical. Jalen Ramsey is going to be totally different. He's going to have sacks. He's going to have forced fumbles. He's going to have productivity all over the place. So I'm really excited. I really like Jalen Ramsey there because it's going to make this defense better, man. And they're going to be a lot to deal with. So that's why I'm excited about that mostly, man, mostly. Mm-hmm. And to see that they was 12th last season without any productivity at safety, that's big. That's big. So, let's check on our chat. I'm going to check Twitter before we get out of here. Make sure we're not missing nothing that popped up on us. I like to check Twitter. But before we go, man, what do y'all think, man? The jurors are deliberating on this Diddy trial. What do y'all think? Is Diddy innocent or is he guilty? Will he be exonerated? Will he be acquitted? Is it a mistrial or what? We have to get your thoughts and get your opinion. I've been following. I don't want to talk about it and get consumed in this Diddy trial. But ultimately, man, I think he may be guilty of some smaller things. But if you're freaky, you're just freaky. You want to have sex parties and your choice of sex, and whether it's man, dog, woman, whatever it is, that's your discretion. At the end of the day, I think it's too much confusion for him just to be. I think it had to be what is it? 11-0. All the jurors have to agree one way to make him guilty. So I think that ultimately going to be the problem. All the jurors are not going. The whole jury is not going to agree on 11 charges, all together. So I don't think Diddy is going to end up with something so serious. I think this is a big fight, a big ploy for attention, money, draining. You want the government. You don't want to play with the government. I don't know if y'all ever had any issues. I've been investigated by the SEC before. This is my first time saying this. Yeah, I've been through a lot. And it's scary walking in those buildings and dealing with those federal agents and the feds, man. So, man, we'll see tomorrow, man, how it works out for Diddy.
Oh, tomorrow we get the answer tomorrow?
We will see, man. They're deliberating now. So I'm sure tomorrow they will have an answer. I don't know. They want it to be what is the charge? What are the charges? Racketeering, conspiracy, or RICO. That's the word I'm looking for. RICO, conspiracy, and racketeering. Those are the big main subjects or titles in his RICO charges, right? In his RICO charges. But they didn't have the main people who he's supposed to conspire with, who's a part of the racketeering and things like that. No one else took the stand and, is being charged the same way as he is. So I don't see how he's all the way guilty or how he's going to be found, totally guilty when you haven't brought the other conspirators and things like that to the table and had them cross-examine and taking the stand. So we'll see, man. Diddy's going to be a free man. If he is a free man, Diddy is going to be the most powerful man in the world. Hip hop, the black sector of the entertainment. You know how it go when black men come out and you beat a case, you feel invincible. The world think you're invincible. And now you just need to come out with your mixtape, drop you another album, and go Diddy go, man. So we'll see how it go, man. 2-3 Drees. Asante missed the pick 6. Monday Night Vibes.